Have you ever stopped to think about how some songs marked an entire generation, but the artist behind them simply disappeared? The 80s, a decade in which rock exploded in many forms, from hard rock to synth pop, from glam metal to new wave, was also the era in which many artists emerged with a single smash hit and then disappeared into the dust of time. Today we're gonna delve deep into the history of the greatest one-hit wonders of 80s rock. But be careful, there's no room for myth or supposition here. Everything you'll hear in this video is 100% based on facts. No legend, no exaggeration, just rock and true history.
Making love to you was never second best.
I Melt With You was originally released on the album After the Snow in 1982 and became the definitive signature song of the English band Modern English. Although the song did not reach the top of the British charts, it became a cult phenomenon in the United States, especially on college and alternative radio stations. An interesting fact, producer Hugh Jones, who also worked with Echo and the Bunnymen and the Damned, was fundamental in the final sound of the track, which mixed delayed guitars, atmospheric synthesizers, and sweet vocals, contrasting with the dark lyrical content. The song tells the story of a couple falling in love while the world is being destroyed by nuclear war, a type of apocalyptic romanticism that reflected the fears of that generation, marked by the threat of the Cold War and the arms race. Despite re-recording the song in 1990 with a more polished sound and releasing other albums throughout the decade, the band never repeated the success of this hit. Still, I Melt With You remains one of the most licensed songs of the decade, appearing in dozens of films, series, and commercials. From the 80s had as much cultural impact as Jenny. Released on the second album by Californian band Tommy Tutone, the song was written by Alex Call, former member of the band Clover, which also featured Huey Lewis, and Jim Keller, the band's guitarist. The idea for the song came about almost by accident. According to Call, he invented the phone number and the name Jenny just as a hook, never imagining that it would cause a national sensation. The single sold over 1 million copies and reached number 4 on the Billboard charts. The urban legend that Jenny was a real woman only added to the mystery, and indeed, real people who had this number in various area codes received hundreds of calls and prank calls. Some companies even tried to buy the number to use it for marketing purposes. After the success, vocalist Tommy Heath tried to keep the band active, but the public only wanted to know about Jenny. In recent interviews, Heath has revealed that his sudden fame has taken a toll on his personal life, and that he even left music for a while to work as a software developer. Today, Tommy Tutone is remembered as one of the most iconic one-hit wonders in the history of American rock.
I often kiss you when there's no one else around.
Japanese was the biggest hit by the band The Vapors, produced by Bruce Foxton, bassist for The Jam. The track was released in 1980 and was part of the album New Clear Days, which featured other tracks with social criticism and political satire, something common in British post-punk rock at the time. The song's sound is marked by repetitive riffs and a prominent use of minor chords, reinforcing the feeling of anxiety and obsession, which perfectly matched the lyrics. The sound aesthetic is reminiscent of bands like The Jam and The Clash, but with a more cartoonish and pop feel, which made it easier for it to enter mainstream radio. Despite its huge success, especially in Australia, Canada, and the United Kingdom, the band faced difficulties with their second album, Magnets, which featured more serious themes such as terrorism and government surveillance. The album was a commercial failure and led to the end of the band in 1982. It was only in 2016 that the group reunited and returned to perform at nostalgic festivals, always being remembered for turning Japanese.
Sometimes I feel I've got to.
Into Tainted Love is one of the most interesting cases of musical reinvention. Originally released in 1964 as a dark soul song by Gloria Jones, the song was revived almost 2 decades later by the British duo Soft Cell, formed by Mark Allman and David Ball. They not only breathed new life into the song with synthesizer arrangements and a minimalist electronic beat, but also transformed it into a symbol of the new romantic generation of the 80s. Soft Cell's version is built with just a few elements: a pulsating synthesizer, a hypnotic rhythm, and Allman's anguished voice, which conveys the pain and heartbreak of the lyrics. Tainted Love reached number 8 on Billboard and number 1 on the UK charts, in addition to breaking records for staying on the charts, reaching 43 consecutive weeks in the UK. The track has been re-released several times, including as a medley with Where Did Our Love Go by the Supremes. Despite concept albums like Non-Stop Erotic Cabaret, Soft Cell never reached the mainstream again. Mark Allman went solo and became a cult favorite for his theatrical style and provocative lyrics. Released as a single from the band's second album, To Rye A, Come On Eileen is a masterpiece of pop and Celtic folk fusion. Dexys Midnight Runners, led by the eccentric Kevin Rowland, had already experienced success in the UK with the track Gino, but it was with Come On Eileen that they achieved worldwide fame. The track begins with a soft and melodic, almost melancholic rhythm and explodes into an infectious crescendo with instruments such as banjo, violin, and double bass. The song was written as a nostalgic appeal reflecting Rowland's youth in Birmingham. The lyrics are a mix of youthful romance and a desire for transcendence, to escape the monotony of ordinary life. Come On Eileen went to number 1 in several countries and is still played at parties, soundtracks, and commercials. But success was a burden. Rowland's insistence on constantly changing the band's sound confused the public and the industry. He even released a solo album singing soul covers, dressed as a woman on the cover, which caused critical and commercial rejection. Still, Kevin is seen as an artist of unquestionable artistic integrity. Obsession was born from the collaboration between 2 experienced songwriters, Holly Knight, who has also written for Pat Benatar and Tina Turner, and Michael Des Barres, lead singer of Silverhead and Power Station. The version by Animotion, a band formed in Los Angeles, took the song to the top of the radio and dance floors, with vocals shared by Bill Wadhams and Astrid Plain. The song became a synth-pop anthem with an intense theme. The lyrics talk about a desire so strong that it borders on unhealthy obsession, but with a danceable energy that masks the dark content. The track was part of the soundtracks of series such as Miami Vice and several films, and is still used in commercials and TV shows today. Animotion went on to release other singles such as Let Him Go, but the success of Obsession has never been surpassed. After internal fights and changes in the lineup, the band disbanded in the late 80s, returning only for revival shows. The great irony of the one-hit wonders is that, although they are remembered for just one song, their artists have often had much more complex careers than the public realizes. In the case of Modern English, for example, they have continued to release albums sporadically, and lead singer Robbie Gray has never let the band die. In 2016, they even returned to the studio with the original lineup to record the album Take Me to the Trees. They tour to this day, and I Melt With You remains the climax of every show. Tommy Heath of Tommy Tutone has completely changed his life. After the band broke up, he left the industry and trained as a software engineer, working in technology in Silicon Valley. He still does occasional shows and nostalgic interviews, but he has no illusions about recapturing the success Mark Almond of Soft Cell has distinguished himself by his artistic daring. He has collaborated with Gene Pitney, released experimental solo albums, and performed acclaimed cabaret and musical theater shows. Soft Cell, despite being remembered for Tainted Love, had a huge influence on the electropop that would come later. Bands like Depeche Mode and Pet Shop Boys cite Allman as an influence. In the case of Dexy's Midnight Runners, Kevin Rowland never accepted the label of one-hit wonder and continued to release music independently. In 2023, the band returned with the album The Feminine Divine, with themes of self-discovery, aging, and masculinity. Critics praised it, but the general public still remembers only Come On Eileen. Animotion, on the other hand, had several lineups and performed in 80s nostalgia shows alongside other bands of the time, such as A Flock of Seagulls and Wang Chung. Obsession remains their calling card, but behind the stage, the original members followed completely different lives, some in education, others in advertising and technology. What about you? Which one-hit wonder marked your life? Leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos about rock's glorious past, always with serious, deep, and truthful information. Because here, memory is not empty nostalgia, it is a celebration of the music that made history.